start right away so that we don't take any much of our time. I'm hoping that more people will get to join us as we continue. So you're welcome, everyone who has joined right now. Thank you for joining this episode or this session of our weekly Black Belt meeting. Yes. So I'm just going to dive straight into the point. Why exactly are we here today? And then what's going to be the focus of our meeting for today? A couple of weeks ago, or should I say months ago, I stumbled on something that I think is really important for us as educators. And I believe everyone is going to be learning a lot from this, not just as teachers, but also, I mean, as parents with our children and other children within our communities and our spaces. But yes, so I'm going to start off on a lighter note. So right now I'm attending a conference, and earlier in the day, there was this session where a child came up stage to make a presentation. And she was doing this, what do I call it? It was just a poem, kind of, it was a poem. And then she read one line out in Yoruba language, or one sentence in the Yoruba language. And I can tell you that she apparently murdered the language. You know, the pronunciation of the words and all of that in the Yoruba language was just really funny. And, you know, we all just started laughing. Apparently, that's the situation out there. That's the situation of our indigenous languages and culture. I mean, I know that it's not just Nigeria, even across many other countries too. There's a need for us to promote our indigenous languages. There's a need for us to promote or preserve our cultural and linguistic diversity. You know, we currently have more than 500 languages now in Nigeria, I think so. You know, and UNESCO says that at the pace that we are going, we'll be losing more than 20 of those languages every year. So let's imagine that we keep losing 20 of those languages every year. That means how many languages will we have left in maybe about 20, 30 years from now? There's a need for that. And that's why, I mean, that's one of the reasons why the organization will be hearing from today. I've come up with an innovative strategy. So we're going to be hearing more about what NABU does. NABU, NABU. So NABU is an organization that tries to bridge the gap when it comes to literacy education. Yes, so NABU is promoting multilingual education through the creation of resources in indigenous languages. And so we'll be hearing from a representative who will be speaking to us and giving us more details. And yes, again, this is not just about us as teachers. This is something that would also be relevant to us as parents and to also help other children within our spaces. So I'm just going to hand over the microphone now to Mr. Olushola Aromokun. Yeah, so it's going to be coming up. If you have questions as it talks, please just note down your questions. The questions will be answered. And then we're also going to talk about the opportunities that are available for us as Black Belts in this partnership that 1 Million Teachers has with NABU. Thank you very much, everyone. Mr. Olushola, the mic is up to you now.
Thank you, Kemi, and good evening to everybody that is in my time zone, and then to everybody else, hello, and welcome to what should we call this? Talk. I don't want to call it like a super formal session. I'm going to be sharing my screen. I will introduce you to who I am, and then to what we do at NABU. Can everybody see what I'm sharing?
Yes, we can see it. Can we see you as well? Can you put on your video?
Maybe I should start there.
Let's see your face.
And then I'll go on video. I'm a little camera shy, if you can believe that. I know Kemi will say I'm not camera shy, but I'm a little camera shy. So my name is Olushola Aromokun. I'm the country manager, Nigeria, at NABU. Prior to NABU, I spent the last 7 years working in the education sector. And it's a peculiar one because what I did was to help Google, with their Digital Skills for Africa program, I don't know if you've heard of it. That is what grew into what is now called the Grow with Google project that is now global. So what I did was to help them incubate, ideate, and then scale the program across Africa. And then I think my previous foray into education was teaching marketing classes at Lagos Business School as a visiting faculty, and at SIBS, which is the Chinese business school. And then the earliest experience I had with anything education was with a company called Networks, which was building portal solutions for schools, and I kind of like working with faculty of different universities. I worked across like 6 to 7 universities. I kind of appreciated the work that goes into, a teacher's schedule, from planning to human management to resource management and a lot of that, So I always say education chose me because I didn't choose to get into education or be an educator at any point, So I was working with a software company. It just happened to be in education, and then I got picked to do the job with Google, as a consultant for 7 years, and now I'm at NABU, which is a non-profit that is focused on literacy through education through mother tongue books. I think that's a little bit about me. There are many other forks in the road that we can talk about another time. So I would like to share my screen now and talk about NABU. Second. Give me one second, my goodness. 1 second, please. Yeah, I think I'm back. So here, sharing NABU. So, like I mentioned before, I am the country manager for Nigeria at NABU. And NABU is a global nonprofit. We're present in Kenya, in Rwanda, in Romania, and the Philippines. And we're expanding across East Africa right now. So we're working at expansion. Our mission is simple. Liberalize. There are so many words for it, for what we're trying to do. But we have a literacy-focused mission through mother tongue education. And how do you capture the minds of the most distracted tier of like the human growth? Through storytelling. Everybody loves a good story, adults, children, but kids, more than any, are captured by really good stories. Over 250 million children in low-income countries have limited access to books and are not learning how to read. Surprisingly, this mother tongue, not learning how to read, is tied to like disappearing cultures, disappearing mother tongues. There's a nonprofit that tracks disappearing mother tongues. A mother tongue disappears and the entire culture is gone with it. So imagine your Yoruba, your Ibibio, your Hausa, and people just stop speaking the language. You stop passing the little intricacies of that culture from child to child, from human to human, and the next thing, the mother tongue is gone, and the culture eradicated with it. So early childhood literacy is critical to eradicating poverty. Children who can read now earn less in the future and are more likely to have very poor health outcomes. Low literacy rates are directly correlated with low levels of economic growth at the national level. There are white papers put out by the UN, by even AFDB. A lot of nonprofits have done amazing work in this field. So why mother tongue reading? Mother tongue books are one of the cost-effective interventions in increasing literacy. Specifically, research shows mother tongue books increase a child's motivation to read, result in stronger parental engagement in children's education, even if the parents are not formally educated. They most probably know how to speak their mother tongue and get super excited when a child is trying to read, and they can correct that child against having the child learn from a language where they're struggling that is not native to them. You know, the parents can't help, they don't even understand what the child is reading. So mother tongue books provide an essential bridge to reading in English and other national languages. It also builds affinity between in a home. You know, the father, mother can read or they can read, or they might even be struggling with their own mother tongue. The child is reading a very captivating or struggling to read a very captivating story in the mother tongue. They correct the child, and then everybody gets to read, everybody gets to share. They even get so animated in some things that they act out, you know, the story. You know, it fosters a warm environment. It fosters like a deeper relationship in the family and a lot of all that. All of NABU's books provide the mother tongue and the second language. In our case, mostly across Africa, is mostly English. That is the second language. You know, so most in the markets we're in right now, but as we expand, we'll probably do mother tongue and francophone. So we're mostly mother tongue and English. So all of NABU's books provide the mother tongue and English bilingual text side by side with an illustration. The apps are available on Android and iOS Apple Store right now, and we're testing out the web version for communities where they might have devices that can't necessarily load the app, they can access over the web. So the core components of our offering is accelerating literacy through access to mother tongue books. You know, so increase access to culturally relevant mother tongue books. I've mentioned some of these things before. I don't want to bore you. It directly promotes higher reading engagement, leading to higher literacy scores at the K3 levels. A child that is confident in reading and has picked up a habit of reading is more confident and will probably participate better in class. So how do we create our books? Community is a huge part of our creativity at NABU. We recruit and train local creators through our creative fellowship. Our creative fellowship recruits and trains writers, editors, language experts, illustrators, graphic artists. So we put these people together for 6 weeks and train them. At the end of the fellowship, they would have created 30 books per location. So these creatives are paid for what they're doing. We don't put people together, you know, to say, oh, it's a non-profit, it's free. We respect what creators are doing. We understand that their time is precious. We understand that their gift is a blessing to the world. We put them together. We train them on how to write. Most of our books are written in the mother tongue first before being translated to English to preserve, you know, meaning and all of that. So that is our creative fellowship. Through the creative fellowship, NABU creates a learning process for authors to publish fun, bilingual children's books, whilst honoring and preserving cultural heritage and empowering children to see themselves and their lives reflected in the pages of the stories they read. So we've launched the Creative Fellowship. The first one we did was in Miami for Haitian creators, and we're scaling across the country, across all our locations. In Q1, the first quarter of next year, we'll be starting work on Hausa language books, and that's when we'll do the first Creative Fellowship in Nigeria. So part of our creative process is that we usually have a physical space where creators can come in and like brainstorm, create, mingle, and all of that. Earlier this year, we launched our first creative lab in Nigeria, in Lagos. For those that are familiar with Lagos, that is at Sabo Yaba, and everyone is welcome. You know, we launched that in conjunction with WhatsApp, and Yanis, the basketballer, the Nigerian Greek basketballer, Yanis and his family foundation, CAF. We launched that with they sponsored 40 Igbo books. So far, we published 32 Igbo books, Igbo English books on our app, and we had a fun time with kids reading, and then with the superstar visiting Lagos location. You know, Kemi has been there, and she liked it. We hope many of you in this community will be able to visit. this is our reading app. This is what it looks like. You know, it's easy to use. It's intuitive for kids. It's free. It's low bandwidth, and then the books can be downloaded for offline reading for every child. Right now, we have over 1.7 million downloads and active users, I think about 650,000 daily, which is really a lot for a reading app. You know, the engagement is high through our partners and collaborators, through parents, through mostly teacher networks, like 1 million teachers. So NABU's mobile reading app has become the fastest growing reading app in Rwanda and Haiti. That's as a last measurement. Our goal is for users to spend an average of 15 minutes reading daily. It doesn't seem like a lot, but we know how there's a lot of distraction in the world. They say the goldfish, the attention span of an average human is lower than that of a goldfish. And a goldfish attention span is about, 6 seconds? Some will say 9 seconds, so go figure. So there's a program that I would like to introduce to you. We have this amazing app, the NABU app. We have this amazing product, the books that are created in different languages. Easy, free bandwidth app, easy to download offline. But that does not mean that we can easily get into people's hands, the target audience's hands. Discovery is a big part of it. Constant engagement is a big part of it. Gatekeepers are a big part of it. We have faced challenges in communities where community heads don't even want, the people in the community to access, for whatever reason, literacy resources. So we have designed Bridge to Literacy, a program internally at NABU to collaborate with organizations like 1 Million Teachers, to collaborate with experts, subject matter experts like you in the field, to deliver, to be like last mile delivery mechanisms and bridges to the communities, the parents, the guardians, and the kids. So through Bridge to Literacy, NABU trains community-based reading ambassadors and local partners to onboard and motivate families to read with their children every day. 15 minutes every day, it helps them form a habit. In partnership with local governments and NGOs, NABU has trained over 2,000 reading ambassadors, replicating the Bridge to Literacy program successfully in Rwanda, Kenya, and Haiti. For Nigeria, we just announced the partnership with WhatsApp in September. But from that announcement alone, the downloads and engagement we've seen, and even the comments on our website, gladdens my heart and everybody at NABU. So we believe we can do more. And Bridge to Literacy is one of the bridges to ensuring that we keep getting more people to discover what NABU is, to keep engaging, to keep reading and sharing. So Bridge to Literacy becomes more cost-effective as the program scales and matures. Reading ambassadors equip a family to read with their children using research-based methods. Of course, the NABU users are, we're targeting early readers, naturally, but we've seen outliers. We've seen outliers where, sorry, I need to, thank you. Yeah. So we've seen outliers where even adults are using the app to learn how to read. They're not just learning how to read with the mother tongue, they're learning how to read English, So most of them, from the research we've done, they start by looking at the pictures, and then they're familiar with the mother tongue, they start reading the mother tongue, and then they struggle through the English, and before you know, they find success with English. So this is our landscape. Our target is 25 million readers by 2025. We understand that there are some homes where they have only one device. So you have 5 people reading through one device. But of course, on the app, there are profiles. So you have one device, you can set up profiles for different people because they might be reading different books. So we count active readers over devices. So we're looking at 25 million active readers, at least reading 15 minutes per day, which will correlate and lead to increased literacy rates. We're measuring that as we go along. So currently we have in Haiti, Ukraine, Afghanistan, Rwanda, Romania, Kenya, DRC, Australia, and USA. In 2023, this was our target. Nigeria, we've penetrated Nigeria now, we're trying to scale. Tanzania, Uganda, Burundi, Niger, Chad, Burkina Faso, Ivory Coast, Ghana, Benin, Cameroon, Togo, and Sudan. We've analyzed and we've seen a couple of quick wins, like the Hausa language we're going to be developing in Q1. While we're developing our Hausa language from our Nigeria office, we know that that language covers a lot of borders. Same thing for Igbo that we've done, same thing for Yoruba. We're not just looking at Africans living in Africa, we're looking at Africans and even beyond Africa, from the Philippines, Romania, we're looking at the diaspora. So there's so many people. I've been in groups where people are, oh, do you know someone that can teach my kids Yoruba? You know, these are people that actually speak Yoruba, but their lingua franca, everyday work language is either English or French or some other language that is not their mother tongue. You know, so we understand these realities, and these people, both diaspora and in-country target audiences, form the 25 million aspiration. Because so far, we have over 3,000 plus reading ambassadors, trained reading ambassadors. We have some volunteer, 5.53 million plus children reached. We have over 750 plus titles published in 15 languages, over 150 plus local artists trained in digital art skills. Our creatives are not full-time employees, so we train them. So it also means they can take other gigs, and we are adding to the gig economy, the global gig economy. Over 1.53 million books downloaded, like I mentioned before. So why Nigeria? You know, we've been everywhere. NABU is a 10-year-old organization. So why Nigeria? Why and why now? You know, out of Nigeria's 117 million population, a staggering 65 million are illiterate, unable to read or write. According to a 2021 report, only 62% of Nigerians possess literacy skills. Hausa, a language predominantly spoken in northern Nigerian states, is the most widely spoken language in Africa. Literacy rates, however, among this group are the lowest in Nigeria. That is 38% literacy rate. This data is as of 2021, when the last UN National Stats collection was done. So we're yet to see the effect of COVID-19 on literacy among Nigerian youth, because we know there were a lot of gaps during the COVID period, and a lot of progress was lost. So I mentioned what we are complete so far. We launched our West Africa Creative Lab in Lagos in partnership with WhatsApp and supported by the NBA star, Giannis Antetokounmpo. This picture was from the visit. And then we have 31 local Nigeria Igbo artists. They received high quality training in writing and illustration. These creatives are created now, I've not updated this, 32 books as of today, original storybooks, which are already published on NABU app. NABU has 40 Igbo books published, but 32 published publicly. We're betting eight of them. So our Nigeria library, like I said, our target, our commitment to WhatsApp and Giannis was 40 books by December, and we're going to hit that target. So we have a lot of books. Most of the books are in Igbo and English, and they're specific to Nigeria. Some of them are the colorful Igbo festivals, mealtime, storybook for Dana, the sounds of the ancestors, and then, you know, some of the ones pictured here. So I would like to mention that we have 4 categories of our books. We have the really early readers at the phonic stage, you know. So that's level 1, where it's just basic shapes, colors, you know. We design our books based on the country's curriculum. You know, that's why we have like the educators' advice based on any language you're working on. You know, these books give insight and highlight the rich Igbo culture. They are fictional examples, but they capture the essence of how our authors and fellows infuse their personal experiences into their storytelling. Most of our writers are writing for the first time. They're just real enthusiasts, or they've wanted to write, or they've written and kept it from anybody saying it, and then they apply to be writers, and we train them, and then they've created these amazing books. What is next? Hausa collection, Q1. So we're looking at Hausa collection in Q1 of next year.
Oh yeah,
yeah. So we're looking at Hausa collection in Q1 of next year, and then Yoruba collection to follow. It's a lot of work, you know. We're going to launch the Creative Fellowship to power the Hausa collection, and of course, power the Yoruba collection. This is the creative process. It's a long process. This is the cycle of our creative process. You have the aspiring creative that applies, and then you have the enthusiastic, becomes the enthusiastic applicant. They're the NABU fellow, phase 1, NABU fellow, phase 2. They go through like a proper cycle up to entrepreneurship training, because we're not just training them to create for NABU, we're training them to stand alone and also get gigs for themselves, create their own stories and all of that. So we're trying to ignite a spark where these guys go on to collaborate with teachers like you, with fellow story tellers, with fellow illustrators to create amazing stories, even like animated shorts and all that for kids. So this is our entire process. It looks like a lot. It is a lot, but this is what we do. We teach them up to promotion and marketing. We don't leave anything out. It's the entire gamut. They come in with a tabula rasa and we fill it with as much of what we can. We also have some special collections that we're working on. It's not just stories. It's not just feel-good stories. It's not just folklore. We have special collections we call the global collections for like children in crisis, stories that empower girls, stories around climate action and conservation, and then stories that foster compassion. These are some of the collections we're working on, and they'll be transadapted across cultures, across mother tongues, and adapted for like local realities. So these are some of our key team members. Tanyela Evans is the executive director. Chris Barr is our chief technology officer. I'm the country manager. There's a gentleman in Rwanda called Amos Fuara. He's the director of user engagement. And then we have Mr. Michael Ross, who lives in China and travels all over the world. He's the creative director that designed our lab. So Kemi, everything you love that lab was designed by this man, but like in our usual way, we created every single thing locally. Everything in that lab was sourced locally, and they were made by local creators. So thank you, NABU, in brief. I hope I didn't bore you too much. Thank you very much.
Wow, 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 wow. I am just, and it's so excited. Even before Kemi talks, I'm going to talk because this is just me. This is me. This is what I do. I live in diaspora. I teach people Yoruba in diaspora. I speak Yoruba to my children. I'm always criticizing Yorubas for not speaking Yoruba to their children, to preferring speaking English. And I want to write a book. I already teach it. I even have a YouTube channel about teaching Yoruba. So Fatima Bujimi is writing. I am writing. This is something I have dreamed of. I'm so excited. Anyway, Kemi, you can talk now.
All right, Fatima. I love your energy. Thank you so much, Mr. Olushola. Thank you so much. That was such a great presentation. And I believe, everyone listening must have heard something or, got something that enriched your knowledge. For me, I really love this concept. Now, let me tell you something interesting that happened. So I downloaded the NABU app on my phone. And one of the very first book I clicked on was a book written in the Igbo language. Now, I got so lost reading the book with the interpretations and all of that I forgot that, it was Igbo. I'm actually Yoruba, so I don't understand the Igbo language in any way. But that's to tell you how engaging the books are. So it's written in the Igbo language, but there are also translations there. The visual effect is so great. Like you are immersed into the book. Now, if as an adult I felt that way, I can imagine what it would be like for a child. The books are so colorful, engaging, and I believe even as parents, we can maximize this for bonding times with our children. Read through the books, role play, learn morals and lessons, and all of that. So if you've not downloaded the NABU app, please do that. Please check out your Play Store app, and NABU, that's the name of the app. Please download it. It's really great. Now, just like Mr. Olushola said, so sorry, please. He has mentioned that, I mean, so we're spreading, NABU is spreading its wings in Nigeria, and, more languages are coming up. So please check out the ones that are there available. Spread the message to your friends, your family, your colleagues, and all of that. So we don't know if we have questions. So let me just mention at this point that for those of us who are in Lagos, very soon, I mean, definitely before the year runs out, we'll be having a physical event where we get to talk about this, where we get to talk about everything that NABU is doing, and probably even commission our ambassadors who will begin spreading the message. So if you're in Lagos, just watch out on our pages, on the WhatsApp pages. There will be a link very soon for you to register your interest. So if you're interested, it'll be great to have a couple of us as teachers gather together, learn more about everything regarding multilingual education and promoting our, cultural heritage and linguistic diversity. So if you have questions, you can just let us know the questions. You can raise your hands and then you'll be called before I continue. Yes, so there's a message there that asks for the email address. Mr. Lushola, are you willing to share your official email address? Is there any way
Of course,
anyone can reach you? All right, so please share that. Thank you very much. I'm trying to see another question. Okay, someone says, how do I become a member of NABU? Okay, so this is how it works. Oh, that's a question, Mr. Lushola. It says, is NABU in Kenya?
Yes, we're in Kenya. We've been active in Kenya way before many other markets.
Wow. So yeah, so the person who asked that question, please go straight right now, just right now. Please go to the your Play Store app, or just download the app and begin to exploit and begin to share word about it. So someone asks, how do I become a member? Now this is how it works. For us at 1 Million Teachers, 1 Million Teachers already has a partnership with NABU. That means as a black belt, you already, to a large extent, you're already commissioned to begin to spread word about everything that NABU does, right? So you're already a member. Let me say it that way. You're already a member. You're already a part and parcel of everything that we're doing. So all you need to do is just begin to spread word about what NABU is doing. Check out the application, like I've told you, share the link with people around you and all of that. Again, we're going to have that physical meeting for those in Lagos, like so sorry about that, please. So sorry. For those in Lagos, like I mentioned earlier, we're going to have a physical gathering very soon. And we're hoping that we can spread this across different locations. So I apologize for the noise in the background. I'm so sorry. Like I mentioned, I'm currently at the conference, and yeah. So I'm just trying to check if we have any other questions in the chat box. So I don't see any other questions, but if you have a question, you may just raise your hand. Maybe you want to ask and just say it rather than type in. Yes, someone says, does it have any platform opportunities for writers? Mr. Lushola is going to answer that question. In his presentation, he mentioned something about the design team. So I'll just hand that over to him.
Yes, so our process is to invite everyone. Of course, we have a process, invite writers that are interested, graphic artists, illustrators. We have different creative fellowships for everyone. So we usually start with writers and editors, because they do all of the work before illustrators can do it. So there's an opportunity for writers, So once we're doing the creative fellowship for Hausa, if you are native to Hausa or can speak Hausa or understand the culture, I would share the application form or link when we're ready with Kemi, and then she'll share that. When we get to Yoruba, we'll do the same thing, like that as we progress for different languages.
Shola, Kemi, hello everybody. I just want to add that for if you're in Kenya, please contact your coordinator. Harriet is in charge. She has a similar role as Kemi in Nigeria. And for those of you in Rwanda, Ernest is the coordinator. So please just reach out to him. I was with Ernest at the NABU lab in Kigali recently. And I know him and Philip, the country coordinator for NABU, they are already working on something for you guys. So please do reach out to him. I also do know that something is in the works for Ethiopia. Shola, you probably will be able to speak to all of the other country initiatives coming up, even though you're operating from Nigeria at the moment.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Hakim. So at NABU, we are everywhere, but we're together. So everything internally is run like one family. I know what I virtually know what the country manager in Kenya is today. That's how closely close knit we are. So we are working on an East African expansion. I think Uganda might come up earlier than Ethiopia, but Ethiopia is in the works. So a lot of all these countries, this is not a small feat starting up in a country. So 1 million teachers is our partner now. 1 million teachers is family. So as these things develop, as we are launching the new countries, you'll be the first to know through for Nigeria through Kemi, and then for Rwanda through Philip, and your country rep, and then for Kenya like that as we progress.
Okay, Shola, I wanted to ask, for those of us that are interested but we're in diaspora, how does it work?
So our creative fellowship is hybrid. So for those that can join physically, even for those that join physically, still there's a tech remote, both physical and remote aspect to it. So, and it's like the easiest and cheapest way to actually have a creative fellowship, to be quite honest, So, but a lot of other people don't have the resources to stay at home to attend the fellowship. They need fiber internet. They don't have a device at that point, they need constant power and that kind of stuff. So that's why we invite them to come to a place every time we have a session. So for those in diaspora that are professionals that can create, we'll invite you through 1 million teachers, and then you apply, you get in, you are part of the creative fellowship. That's it.
All right, thank you.
We're not in Ghana yet, but once a program starts in Nigeria, it means we're in West Africa. So Ghana, we're coming. Kemi, over to you.
Okay, I can't see Kemi, but thank you, Olushola, for that, for your presentation. We understand the importance of mother tongue. The only thing that I must say about my experience, I did a UNICEF project in northern Nigeria post-COVID, and I noticed something about, should I say there is a elite versus non-elite issue. We were providing literacy and numeracy books for to close the gaps that were missed during the COVID-19. This was 2 years ago in 2021. And I was part of the team that produced the workbooks for literacy and numeracy. And there was a discussion that we shouldn't write it in English. They should be only taught in Hausa. And an idea that these children should only be taught in Hausa to create that gap, in that some children will be taught in English most of the time, but some children are only taught in Hausa in the local schools, whereas in the private schools, they prefer English. So with your reading books that have both, that will help solve the problem. So there's also this idea that people of us, how do I put it? There is this class idea that English is posh and local languages are not, they're not something to be proud of to speak. How do you get through that? Do you get my drift?
Yeah, I do. I do. As a matter of fact, this year we ran a couple of researches in Rwanda and Kenya, and a lot of the findings were quite laughable. You know, it's not a cultural thing; it's a mindset thing. This thing you said.
It's a mindset,
Mhm.
a colonial mindset. That
Yeah.
Exactly. So
Yeah,
we
we
have
can't
to
keep blaming it on the colonial. Actually,
exactly.
it's our mindset. You know.
Exactly. Like
Yeah. So,
there
but
is, like the saying goes, emancipate yourself from mental slavery. There is this mental slavery going on that our language is not something to be proud of.
yeah, so what the way we beat, you know, some of those uh situation is the fact that they saw English, you know, and they were a bit tickled, like a couple of the parents were a bit tickled that the kids could read. So in this case, Swahili, like you know, they'll initially laugh at the pronunciation and all of that, then they'll correct. And then before you know it, it's like the stages of grief. You know, you go through this stage, like, wait, why didn't I ever make an effort to teach my kid? And to be quite honest, it's quite expensive getting to teach your kid, you know, a mother tongue. Because number one, there are not a lot of people offering that service. You know,
I
so
am.
the few people,
If
yeah,
you know
and
anybody
they're
who
not
wants in diaspora that wants their child to speak Yoruba, contact me.
actually there are many people in Nigeria that need
We need
anybody
to talk,
to
me
teach their
and
kid.
you.
Yeah.
I offer that service.
Yeah.
So
So I mean, it exists, and then these challenges also exist. There were a couple of my friends that got a fund to do something amazing, you know, and they went into a community. You know, she called me. They were crying. They were threatened. As a matter of fact, they were in harm's way. You know, so but what they were bringing to the community was beneficial and all of that. So I asked a couple of questions. I'm like, did you guys talk to the local guys, like the gatekeepers? She was like, what does that mean? We don't care. We're trying to jump over the gatekeepers. I'm like, that's not how it works. You know, you would have to, you know, get a feel for the community and understand, make it like, oh, it's the idea. You have to get a buy-in. You know, they don't
yeah,
want to access this thing because they feel like, oh, if the girl child gets it,
exactly. Yeah,
but you need,
that's what
yeah.
happened. Yeah. During the project. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's why we have.
You have to build a relationship with the local community. You can't
Thank
get
you.
anywhere without building that relationship.
The only people that I know get away with all of that most times are teachers.
Yeah, yeah,
Because
yeah.
you are in front of the kids and speaking to their heart, mind,
Exactly.
and you can even
Exactly.
convince the parents to say this is good for you and your kid in the long run. And in this case, you're like, oh, your child is learning Igbo. You know, they're learning to read in Igbo. It's good for you. You're not saying they're learning to read. In Hausa case, you're like, oh, they're learning, you know, more about the Hausa language and all that. They're like, oh, it's just stories, you know, it's just stories, it's just fun stories, you know. And then the child reads to the father when he gets back, reads to the mother. They're happy. They don't understand the literacy initiative. They don't necessarily need to understand the literacy initiative. It's called the mullet strategy, you know, parting in front, all of the dirty work at the back, you know. So we'd have to do the work.
Okay, great. I don't know if she's back. Is Kemi back?
Yes, I am. Yes, I am.
All right.
Okay, so I don't know if we still have more questions. I see someone trying to unmute a microphone. I don't know if that's for a question. Okay, so, well, in the absence of any questions, I think we're just going to bring the session to an end. Fatima, is there any other thing you might want to add? So just like I said earlier, for those who are in Lagos, please watch out on our pages. Once our plans are concrete, a form will be shared or a link will be shared on the WhatsApp pages.
I don't have anything else to share at the moment. I've really had a wonderful session today. Thank you so much, Kemi. Thank you so much, Olushola. It's something very close to my heart, something I'm very passionate about. about native culture, native language. I do teach Yoruba to people in diaspora that don't speak Yoruba to their children. So I'm very passionate about that. Thank you so much.
And yes, okay, so a big thank you to Mr. Kim, for everything he does to support us as teachers and for this partnership too with NABU. So thank you very much, Mr. Kim.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank you, Kemi.
Hakim.
Thank you, Shola, Fatima, everybody who is here. I'm really excited. I hope this doesn't end in Lagos. We have big areas like Kano, hopefully, and somewhere in the east also, so that we have that geographical coverage. But I mean, we start where we are, and then build forward. But really, really excited. This is so needed, and thanks for all of you that are part of this whole initiative. So yeah.